Okay, howdy folks. This is the Solo Gamer. You may call me Matt, and you may notice something. You're not in fact dreaming. This is Suicide Squad. And no, I absolutely do not... I absolutely did not buy this thing full... I did not pay full price for this shit. Truth be told, they recently had the deluxe edition on sale, literally for like $5 goddamn. And I'm being honest. For the opportunity to actually check out the shit show myself, couldn't miss out. But there was more to it than that. The thing is, I wanted to see this game for myself. And the reason I wanted to do that was because I refused to buy this game when it came out. I utterly and completely refused. I didn't want any part of it. I wanted nothing to do with the game. I felt was nothing but pure disrespect to the comic book legacy of these characters. But a big part of it was the story. Like, I saw what they did with it, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to support that directly. So I refused to buy it. But when I saw that it was $5, I thought, okay, I can look into that. Here's the thing. This game may be the entire compilation of the game industry's failures this year made manifest. And I don't say that to be, mean-spirited or cruel. I mean that honestly. This game encapsulates everything wrong with the industry. It is perfectly serviceable that this game could have been something immensely fun. Could have been great. Could have been fantastic. And someone chose to just say, fuck it, and ruin the damn thing entirely. So, what you wind up with is a game that is essentially pure, unvarnished, unspeakably good, interesting potential ruined by bad writing, horrible, and I mean horrible, just horrible writing, like the worst story writing I've seen in, well, to be fair, I would say the worst story writing I've seen in a while, but actually, now that I think about it, looking at the comic book industry, nope, it's actually well within the typical garbage you see out of DC these days. Lord knows I wish that weren't the case. But it is. Like, DC writing has been absolute shite. And it's been that way for a while now. And this is no different. It is disrespectful. It is disingenuous. It feels like someone's trying to be... What's the term? Too clever by half? Yeah, that's a good one. It feels too clever by half. Someone thinks they're being smarter than they are, and it shows. But I feel like the bigger issue with the game is that they had a great concept here. Like, no joke, this traversal shit, pretty neat. Pretty cool. Great idea. It's just, it's not really well utilized. Like,
this target will do for the Cobblepot job.
It has some very good basic data. It has some very good basic gameplay and combat. But it definitely does not feel like... It definitely feels like there's a lot of wasted opportunity and wasted potential in a game that should, by all accounts, be absolutely, just an easy slam dunk. Just
good metrics, TFX. We'll keep you on.
It's absolutely potential is great, but they just squander it.
Keep trying until something sticks.
It's an absolute waste of time. In terms of its story, I should say. It's still a fairly decent looter shooter. It's pretty fun. come on. Come on.
Just don't breathe into the microphone.
I will say I like the concept of Hack, but her design's kind of boring.
Fighting hordes of alien bastards.
But when you boil it down, the game's greatest strengths are so massively overdone by its weaknesses. There's so little real potential in this game in terms of its writing that once you finish the gameplay, there's never a reason to go back. And I mean that with absolute honesty. And it's a shame because I'm a comic book fan. I grew up with the original Suicide Squad stuff. I grew up with a lot of the animated series. I grew up with, and I do think that you could really do something amazing with these characters. Deadshot, Harley Quinn, of course. Now, I will say this version of Harley Quinn is the version of Harley Quinn I hate. Like, absolutely despise this variant. Nothing against Margot Robbie. She's actually pretty cool. But I just feel like this is the least efficient and least effective version of her that's ever been created. And I will be, you know, dead in my grave and still believing that. But you can't really, I mean, I can't really blame him for going with what was hot at the moment with the Suicide Squad, with, you know, the James Gunn universe and all that stuff. There's definitely some real potential there, but nah, I don't see it. And I do feel like there's a lot of wasted potential here. And I do think that at the end of the day, the reason I say it encapsulates the industry's issues is that it's two parts of the equation. On one hand, you have a game that it's serviceable, if nothing fancy, but it does a job. And it does it pretty well. But then you have the writing. And not even just all the writing, just the story writing is abysmal. Another Sweet Baby Inc. product made into absolute garbage. And I do feel like that can be, you can look at it however you want, but end of the day, I do feel like you're gonna have a bigger problem. You're gonna have a bigger problem with getting the industry to come back from the ledge, as it were, after what has happened this last year. There are some industries there are some people in the industry who see it. Like, good example is Saber Interactive, the guys who did Space Marine 2. They recently showed that they were working on a remaster of the Soul Reaver series. I think Soul Reaver 1 and 2, which, hey, great, freaking love that stuff. That is like aces to me. But an early preview showed that they had made some changes to one of the game's very clear sort of character designs, and what eventually happened was the fan base reached out and said, look, this looks like trash. What the hell are you doing? And they said, okay, you know what? You make a fair point. And so they went in and redid the game, or at least redid some of the art assets to look more appropriate to what they were originally, just upgraded. What did they have? What happened? What was the end result? It looks infinitely better, and they're getting tons and tons of support online for the upgraded game. And I'm like, hey, that's fantastic. Sounds great to me. Here, catch a bag. But I do feel like that remarkable talent. But I do feel like there's a larger problem, a larger issue with the gaming industry as a whole, where it's had this adversarial relationship to its customers. Helldivers, great example of that. There was a discussion that was being had. Sargon of Akkad, I believe, actually made a point where he said the biggest problem there was a problem where they were arguing that, hey, we need to have a, we need to have like a balance patch here and a nerf there, and they completely completely misunderstood what had made the game work, why it was popular, why it was hitting all the buttons with the fan base. And I say this gently. It was the power fantasy. It was the feeling of that superhuman challenge being met with superhuman force, where the enemies were big and the guns were big and everybody was blasting everything to hell. That was the thing that made that game work. And they kept reducing the guns and weapons and everything, made them feel weaker, less efficient, less effective. And there was a backlash, a huge backlash. And what eventually happened is they realized it. And they said, look, fair is fair. You all made a point. Excuse me, getting some tea. Arizona iced tea. But you get to a point where they recognized, okay, we made some mistakes. We made a boo-boo. We made an error. The game isn't fun anymore. The players are leaving it because it stopped being fun. And they turned it around in a big way, too. Now they're running into some trouble again with that whole democracy space station thing. Cool concept, great storyline, a little bit of a flop on the execution. I mean, I love the concept, but it really does not feel like it's hitting the mark on it, you know?
Top of the line hardware.
And I do feel like that is an unfortunate but...
Matches my gunmetal.
It's an unfortunate but realistic scenario where I think a lot of people have come around to the reality and are like, okay. Ooh, Eye in the Sky. You check that one out. But I do feel like the...
Not gonna finish this one.
Alright.
Oh, that's a good one, that. Really puts the dirt in dirty work.
Alright, but I think like that's a big issue, and that's the matter that's been discussed in the industry too little is the relationship between the players and the developers and the industry. And I think Saber's a great example. Their relationship with the players is fantastic because they acknowledge and admit to the fact that, yeah, we need the players. They're the thing that makes this industry run, and if you don't have them...
We're coming back to the hall, Waller. We're gonna be cool?
Uh-huh. You four don't get question-asking privileges.
Oh, calm down, Waller.
You got get your asses back to base and maybe live out your days in solitary privileges.
But, again, getting back to my point, the industry needs to have its... really does need to have a come-to-Jesus number. It has to look at it from a real perspective and say, hey, where did we mess up? Why does the industry now have this mammoth problem where the very people who should be our customers are telling us to go screw ourselves, pardon the expression, at every turn? And the answer is simple. You have inherently alienated your customers pursuing an audience that didn't exist. And part of that was Sweet Baby Inc. and organizations like it getting brought in to write garbage that no one gave a fuck about at all.
Damn, sharks really are cold-blooded.
Shark, normally I'd say mind your own business. But firstly, he cheated, like he always does with his Speed Force bullshit. And after being abducted by aliens, he's even scarier than Hal. So, game of two halves, lots to think about.
Your cowardice makes you unworthy, Terrans.
Alright, that's interesting, but anyway, back to the point I'm making. The industry is now facing a crisis the same as other industries, TV, movies, etc. A good example of that being, and I'm paraphrasing here, but a good example of that is being that the game industry
driving a shipping desk instead of a patrol car.
is facing an exodus of,
game.
players,
Mercenary self is game.
but they aren't.
Seeing you.
but they aren't actually bringing in more talent that can solve the issue. They keep going to these outside consultancy groups who create slop and garbage nobody wants, and then they're shocked when nobody buys it, when it's rejected outright. And then what's the first thing they do? They blame the audience. We just had an election where that was one of the biggest contributing factors to the Democrats getting the shit kicked out of them. Blaming the voters. Don't blame your constituency, and don't blame your customers. You will not get anywhere with that kind of mentality. Now, I get it. The idea of...
Looks like you cleared me out.
You know, the customer's always right is a misnomer. Customers usually have no goddamn clue what they want to begin with.
Ivy among the living again. You'd have to wonder what other twisted mess Luther's been
Indeed.
cooking up.
But that's, again, that just breaks it down to the fact that you cannot and should not be, targeting your customers like they're your adversaries, like they're your enemies.
I understand, Mr. President.
That's not good.
Thank you for your time. So, the Flash is alive. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't terminate this program and your lives.
The speed demon is out of control.
Yeah. I've spent a large part of my brilliant life trying to kill that little bastard, but let me tell you, that was not Flash. It's like he's possessed.
Possessed, brainwashed, I
Don't care.
When I give an order,
Also,
I expect...
this is not...
Intruder detected at main entrance.
Also, this is not Waller.
Something's jamming the biometric scanners at the entrance. We're about to have company.
Task Force X, to the door.
It's Wonder Woman, I bet. Oh, Toy Man.
Well, howdy. My name's Hero. Are you the guys trying to save the world?
Get him.
Whoa.
Holy hockey sticks! It worked! I fixed it! I am a genius!
Looks like a metahuman, ma'am.
I wish. I'm a mechanical engineer.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
I
the
actually salvaged
modern
this
interpretation of
anti-Speed
Toy Man,
I was
who's
wondering
actually a
if
good guy.
just
I
like
recognize
to
him.
get the Flash's autograph.
He shows up
I'm
in
a
Public
huge fan,
Enemy, both the animated and the cartoon area.
I make things like this little guy. It's kind of my superpower. I've been trying on the name Toy Man.
More like Annoy Man, am I right?
Shut up, homeless dude. But again, this is a game that could have had.
Hold the F-wording door! Is that the inner sanctum?
This could have
You
been
guys are
the
allowed in
absolutely
Justice League's super secret hideout?
great game because it has a
Man, you gave me
bunch
5
of
minutes. You have
really
the
good
world
concepts that
authority on
don't
Microcosim and the Justice
wind
League
up
at your
working out.
service.
The writing is,
And all my
I mean, this is for example, the actual comic book Toy Man wouldn't have been bowing to Waller. He'd have told her, "You need me, or I can simply shut the entire building down because I'm that damn smart." Which, in multiple situations, he has done.
Pow! Ha ha! Payback, you little shit.
Oh, whoa. What's this? Initiation?
Yeah, kid. Initiation. Huge congrats.
Awesome.
Aw, he's so sweet. He's not gonna make it.
No, he isn't.
That thing in your hand. I want you to make more. 4 of them. We're gonna capture the Flash.
敵からエネルギーを集められるのかな? Yeah, I think that'll work. All you need
Is material.
is this?
A toy bus.
Okay, kid, let's get you settled. We want to see what you're capable of.
Sure thing, new friend.
I'm not your friend. Walk.
And Flag is back.
Get out there and get him what he needs.
But yeah, this is definitely the example I'd be saying is all of that feels completely disconnected from what should be, or at least what I would hope would be, the actual characters. Like, all of these characters feel like they're bad versions of...
One ground rule. Careful swinging them afflictions around, or Doc Kolchak will have our guts for garters.
Okay.
Running with guns, you need a good gun runner. Let's talk shop.
Fair enough. Oh, I actually have enough to do some crafting with the legendary shit? Fair.
People will think more than twice about getting in your business now.
Perfect. That's what I wanted. So, like, yeah, some of these characters are written well. This penguin, perfectly written. I like it. Like him. Waller, badly written. She sucks. Poison Ivy, worst. She's worse. She's absolutely the worst. She's horrible. Why do you make her a kid? It is stupid. Hack could be a good character if she wasn't as annoying as she is, but I do see where she could be a really interesting character. All the Justice League are supposed to be brainwashed, so them being out of character isn't that bad, but it is irritating. Like, just massively irritating. Toyman is, well, he's Toyman, and he's a very, very bad interpretation of the character, but he is what he is.
So hey, talking rare collector to rare collector, have you seen those weird Terminauts out there scooping up materials? I'm serious. Instead of turning people into monsters, they're sort of collectors too. I can't help you find them, but... Oh, they make a noise like this.
Yeah, we kind of know what we're doing on that, kid. Don't worry about it.
My symptoms are pain, all over, inside and out.
Waller really letting this prepubescent punk torment her goon squad.
I bet you're here to make those stupid metal weapons a little more face melty. Hmm? Let's do it.
Alright. So I only have 2 afflictions at the moment. I think fire is one of the last ones you get. I was kind of hoping you'd actually have like a straight up poison, but yeah. But yeah, not my place. But yeah, I feel like this is a game that sort of compartmentalizes all of the industry's best and worst habits into a single place. And let me show you one of the others. This garbage. Fucking this garbage. This garbage. Like, seriously. This garbage. 70 ways from goddamn Sunday. I hate this garbage. I hate battle passes. I hate this junk. It is the absolute worst. It is such stupid bullshit. And they really thought this was going to be the next big thing. They really were trying to think, oh, this is going to be Fortnite. No, it's not. It's garbage. It's trash. Why the fuck are you doing this?
Mobile gear symbiotes detected. Sorry, I mean...
All units. Luther is no longer a concern. Those 4 miscreants forced our hand. I want proof his technology was rendered inoperable.
Seriously? That damn bug's hauled ass out of here.
Yeah, like, I'm very much of the opinion that...
You terminated the thing like champs.
I'm very much of the opinion that this game could have been absolutely, you know, just a fantastic bit of work had they really not wasted the time of hiring a bunch of idiots who hate the industry and hate the people who love it to write their bloody scripts for them. It's like, you don't hire a car mechanic to be your surgeon, and you don't hire people who hate your industry to be your writers for your industry. And that's the thing. These aren't people who like this industry. They're people who actively admit to hating it, and then you're shocked that people don't like them. It's like, hello, that's kind of their whole deal. Anyway.
No one gives Shark the toy truck. One sneeze and he'll crush it.
Alright, any other side missions I can do, or are we just stuck in the... Yeah, we're just stuck in the story missions. I don't know if I'm ready to actually go head-to-head with Green Lantern at the moment. But I definitely feel...
Nobody gets the toy truck until you learn to be nice to each other.
I do feel like this is the primary example of why you need to have people who respect your content writing your content.
Did you know promotion to a destroyer rewrites 90% of a unit's brain activity? They're destroyers.
Not tacticians.
Seems fun.
Within this city's fiscal stash, Lex Luthor sits upon your cash.
Stay alert.
I'm still not sure what that is. I am clearly a little behind on my
I'm on site.
DC lore these days, no doubt.
Boy, kid. Ain't my damn CO. Let Waller blow up my damn bomb. I don't care. Damn it.
Yeah, but again, this game is the perfect example of wasted potential. It's a great concept, decent enough execution, not a bad gameplay style, but it's riddled with bad writing, horrible character interpretations, lame jokes. Although I will give credit where it's due, some of the incidental and secondary dialogue during the actual gameplay is pretty funny. But the actual story beats, the missions, they all feel like cheap, interpretive bullshit. Just garbage. And it's a shame, because I'd really love to like this game, because as a DC fan, I still think the universe has so much potential. But for the last 10 plus years, DC's been wringing it into the fucking dirt. And I mean, if you want proof of that, all I gotta do is point out a couple of the Superman runs, and how much of a fucking failure they were. And you can't even dispute that. That's like getting into some of the shit that they did with Batman, Dick Grayson, the Titans, all this other crap, the CW. I mean, the list is extensive and horrible. And the funny thing is, I actually really liked the CW Flash for like seasons 1, 2, and everything after that was degrading. Just constantly getting worse and worse and worse. It is what it is. But this is an example of like, at $5 for the game, yeah, fine, it's worth it. It ain't a big issue, and it ain't a big deal. It's still fairly decent. But past that, there is nothing in this game that would justify a full price. And from what I understand, like the end game is some of the most monotonous grind ever conceived, ever created, ever built. And that to me is just, that should be criminal. That should be absolutely criminal. And I do think that is one of those things where a lot of people in the industry are going to wake up soon and realize we cannot allow this to continue. And hopefully they won't. But yeah, I'm giving it a run. I want to at least give it a fair shake. And I do think that there's some redeeming qualities to this game. But honestly, you could have taken this entire game's premise, gameplay, all of it, stripped out the DC Universe garbage affiliated to it, and it would have still worked as a base game. And then you could have written original content for it, and it probably would have worked better. Honestly, I see this, especially with the way these characters have their movement abilities, I see this as more like something you would do to set like a sci-fi, cyberpunk, or space adventure type game, rather than something set in the DC universe, simply because I feel like that would make them more interesting and less. It would strip the baggage of the DC universe from it. And I mean, like, I could see a good Deadshot game where you have to actually be like a master assassin, kind of like the Hitman series. I could imagine a Harley Quinn game that's all about melee combat and it's sort of like Space Marine. Actually, now that I think about it, I could see a game with Captain Boomerang where it's all about making trick shots and fancy moves. Though, admittedly, if you're gonna make him Captain Boomerang, go back to the old silly costume. He just looks like a homeless person now. And King Shark, I could imagine him being like an awesome platforming action game where he uses like his superhuman abilities to get around. But as a squad-based shooter, it fails miserably. It fails miserably because the characters aren't engaging. The gameplay itself is serviceable, but everything else about it feels like one step forward, 7 steps back. Sad and unfortunate, but I at least felt obligated to give it the opportunity to prove me wrong, and it did not prove me wrong. It did not prove me wrong. Sad thing is, you could definitely see where this could have been a massive, and I mean massive hit. And I definitely think it could have been incredibly successful under the right circumstance. But I do feel like there is a significant failure with this game's overall structure. Even its loot system is an annoyance because you have to go through so much junk and garbage, but the game hands out the higher tier shit like it's going out of style. I don't feel any real moral or justification for half the crap you go through when 90% of the crap you have is just trashed. I mean, I break down 80% of my loot anyway because 90% of the time it is garbage tier, worthless junk. Man, I almost wish I could actually do like you do in some games where if it's anything under a blue, you just automatically dispose of the trash. And that's a shame because I could definitely see this loot system being fun because each character's weapon loadout could be unique, and it really doesn't. It really fails miserably. It just comes up bad. Ah, well. Work with what you got, I guess. But, no, like, there's a definite chance this game could have been something vastly superior, and I definitely feel like it just comes up utterly and completely short. Which, I mean, fair's fair. You know, a lot of real possibility gone bad, and I still have not found a decent secondary weapon for Boomer. Like, I've gone through like half the damn arsenal, and none of his shit has come up yet. Like, it is absurd that all I've gotten from him so far is trash, except for the sniper rifle which I gave him, which is absolutely broken. Oh, and the glaive, that's actually pretty neat. But, like, he feels like he's absolutely like the least interesting of the characters I've had so far, and he definitely feels like the least effective of them outright. Call it what you will, but I feel like he is absolutely the last. If I was making the Suicides game, he'd have been my last choice. At least this variant of him. But anyway. I do love that grenade. Anyway, I'm going to cut it here. Probably blathered on too long as it is, but this is a game that I would say if you and a few friends are interested in a decent looter shooter with some interesting layout and good team synergy, it's worth $5 or $10 to buy a copy. But don't ever pay full price for this trash. It is not worth it. And if you're a DC fan, save yourself the disappointment. Don't ever buy it full price. Buy it at, a massive sale discount like I did. even then, I still at times feel like this game cheapens the DC brand, but it is what it is. Either way, see you guys next time when I'm hopefully back into playing something more fun. I actually got. I'm gonna probably do a full video about a new indie game I've been playing called Shortest Trip to Earth. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but I will. Either way, I'll catch you guys next time. Solo Gamer punching out. My name is Matt, and I'll see you next time.